Now, royal biographer Robert Hardman has released a new book titled King Charles, New King, New Court. In it, he details bombshell revelations about the Queen's final moments and who was actually there by her side.
The book also reveals how the late Queen was furious at Harry and Meghan's claims that she gave her blessing to name their daughter Lilibet. Well, joining us is former BBC royal correspondent Michael Cole. I mean, we've heard a lot of these arguments before, but what's quite revealing here is apparently those extremely close to the Queen were saying that she was essentially spitting feathers over this when the Montecitos went on their legal rampage to attack any media organisation that had said they hadn't sought approval from the late monarch.
Good afternoon, Alex. Good afternoon, Kevin. Yes, I think this is another one of those instances where recollections may vary, and I certainly do detect a bit of Buckingham Palace payback here for the release exactly this time last year of Prince Harry's ghost-written autobiography, Spare. Let's just go back over the facts. In 2021, a beautiful baby girl was born in California. Her parents, the Sussexes, announced that her first name would be Lilibet, which was a bit of a surprise because Lilibet isn't a name. It is what the Queen, when she was an infant, called herself when she couldn't say the word Elizabeth. And it became a pet name, a very intimate, private pet name within the family, only used by the late Queen's parents and her sister, and later by her husband, Prince Philip. What happened then is that the BBC reported that permission had not been sought of the Queen or given for the use of this very private name. The Sussexes then countered and said, of course, the name would not have been used had it not been supported by the Queen. Then libel letters went out, rather fierce ones, from a particularly active libel law firm in London to media organisations, including the BBC, asking them or telling them not to repeat this allegation that the Queen had not given permission for the name to be used. And when the incandescence came, when the fury came, was when the Sussexes spokesperson said that the Queen had given her blessing, because what appears to have happened is, Prince Harry, her grandson, rang up and told her that they wished to use the name Lilibet, and then the Queen felt rather, shall we say, bounced into it. She was in a position where she couldn't say no, but blessing was the word which apparently caused the anger by the late monarch. This is
Michael,
very interesting.
Michael, let's analyse this, you see, because I think of all their alleged sins, this is the most heinous so far. This is, in essence, this is what is contained in Robert Hardman's book. And by the way, when we talk about Robert Hardman, we're not talking about some fly-by-night like Omid Scobie. He's a very reputable, respectable journalist. So we must treat what he says in his book with respect. So what he's saying, in effect, is these two lied about the Queen giving her blessing to them calling their kid after what was her childhood pet name, and to those close to her remained till the day she died, the very, very closest to her. They're saying that she did not, she's saying that she did not give her blessing, and therefore, but they pursued, among others, the BBC and newspapers. They sent legal letters to newspapers saying, you know, you suggested that the Queen had not given her blessing. Well, this will result in legal action unless you take those stories down and you never repeat them. Well, they're just like making this stuff up as they go along and then trying to enshrine this lie in law with these legal letters. I mean, that is upping the ante from their previous rather juvenile fibs, is it not?
Kevin, you summarised it beautifully and colourfully, as usual. And let me say that I first met Robert Hardman more than 40 years ago. And as you say, he's a very successful, respectable and well-read author and journalist. So I'm very happy to believe what he said in his book. But what is interesting is that he was given tremendous backstage access to the coronation and all things that went on during the year. And those courtiers who've spoken to him, and it seems to be courtiers rather than royal personalities, would not have said a dicky bird had not they been authorized to do so. So the fact that they've released this information now, as I said at the beginning, was a bit of a payback here going on. Buckingham Palace, you know, they don't do things precipitously. They don't do things rapidly. They don't do anything without thought. And they've punctured this story quite effectively. And I think that is probably payback for, or the beginning of payback for Spare, the very infamous, if you wish, or very famous, but certainly very successful and hugely selling autobiography of Prince Harry, which came out in January last year. So they're getting their word in now, and slowly, I think, and steadily, they will row back against some of the things that the Sussexes have said or allowed to be said on their behalf.
Yeah, well, good luck with that endeavour, I say.